You are listening to the Central Indiana Sports Report, our boys basketball report, Monroe Central at Wapahani from Friday, February 14th, 2025, with Muncie Star-Press sports editor, Cade Hampton.
You're listening to the Central Indiana Sports Report with your host, Greg Mengels.
Welcome back to the Central Indiana Sports Report to the Muncie Star-Press sports editor, Cade Hampton. First of all, Cade, how you fitting into Muncie?
I'm fitting in great so far. I feel like I've kind of learned my way around, and I'm just kind of still, meeting people and making my way. But I feel good. I like the fit, and I like the environment here. It's a fun time.
War Eagle.
Oh,
Ah,
that was producer Susie saying War Eagle to Cade Hampton.
oh, hey, they got a big game tomorrow. I got a big roll tide to that. So, but that's gonna be an electric game. I unfortunately will not be able to watch, but I will be rooting on my Crimson Tide for sure.
That's right. For those of you who don't know, Cade's background is Alabama, and I have a lot of background in Alabama as well. My family being Auburn, he being Alabama. So anyway, let's get to the game. Cade, another big win for Wapahani. They're rolling right along. How'd they look tonight?
Yeah, I mean, it really, at this point, it just feels kind of like business as usual for them. I mean, I was really excited for this matchup when I saw it on the schedule. I mean, Monroe Central has, a pretty good defensive team, and I thought
Yeah.
with the way they defend, they could probably give Wapahani some trouble, and they did kind of early on, but once Wapahani kind of got going and got the threes to start falling, and, their team defense is just so elite. I mean, they can slow anybody down, so – even on nights where they're not shooting the lights out of the gym, they're still gonna push anybody that they can just by their defense alone. So I mean, Camden Bell dropped another 20 points. Eli Andrews had a really nice night with 17, and then Nate Luce had 14, and I think he had like 4 3-pointers. So 12 of those 14 were just triples. I mean, he's got such a smooth shot.
Yes, he
So
does.
but yeah, I mean, they just look like a juggernaut right now. And I mean, I know they had that tough loss against Newcastle not too long ago, but I mean, other than that, they've really looked unstoppable. And I mean, they are primed to make another deep run in the 2A tournament, I believe. And I think they were state runner up last year, so I know they lost a lot of production. People were wondering how, good they were going to look
Right.
compared to that team last
Yeah.
year, but they still are, I mean,
The
really
machine
freaking
is
good.
just rolling, isn't it?
It sure is. Yeah.
They just it kind of doesn't matter who's there. It's very similar to Frankton, kind of been a rival. Doesn't really matter who's on the roster. They just win, and they seem to win every year.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I mean, like we said, I'm pretty new around here, just kind of settling in, but I can tell that, Wapahani, the culture that Coach Luce has built and, maintains there is just, contributes so much to that level of success that they're able to maintain.
Absolutely. Um, and they're closing in on another MEC championship, right?
Yeah, I believe. I mean, winning tonight over Monroe Central. I know Monroe. They were, I think, 5-1 or so,
Right.
and definitely second place in the MEC. So, I think that win, and I think they've got Cowan on the schedule tomorrow. I believe if they beat Cowan, I think that'll clinch the
Yeah.
clinch the conference championship for them.
Seems like a formality at this point. Now we're kind of looking toward the postseason. But before we do that, let's talk a little bit about Monroe Central. You're right; that's a really good team. No shame in losing to Wapahani. Tell me what you saw in Monroe Central.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, no shame in losing to a team like Wapahani and Monroe Central for, what they've got going. Obviously, Easton Foster kind of is the star of the show, but they had another guy, Tayshawn Beatty, or it's either Beatty or Beatty. I don't really know exactly how to pronounce it, but down low, he had a really good night. He dropped 19. And he just is a nice, kind of paint presence. He's, has some height. some muscle down low that gives them just another kind of added element to that offense. But yeah, Easton Foster kind of is the go-to guy, and he draws a lot of defensive attention, but he's really good at kind of kicking it out and getting them good looks outside. They have a freshman guard, Luke Morgan, who has been
Right.
really good from outside. He has a really nice
Yeah.
shot as well. So
The future of
he's
the
been really
program.
impressive. And, looking at their sectional, I think they can. I think they can definitely make a good run and win that. Get to regionals for sure.
They're back down in Class A, correct?
Yeah, they're 1A.
Yeah, okay. Because they've been in 2A for a little while now, and that should help not having to play Wapahani in your sectional. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Anybody? Yeah, I mean that's probably the last team you would really want to see. So
All right. Obviously, when you talk about Monroe Central, you talk about Easton Foster, and tell me about his game tonight and what else. And who else were the leading scorers and players tonight for Monroe Central?
yeah, well, Beatty had the 19. He led the way, but most of his points were kind of like putbacks off of misses, and then at the free throw line as well. So Foster, with like I mentioned, Wapahani's team defense, they only held him to 9 points. It was he was pretty clearly the focus on defense, and then Wapahani just kind of, by design, it's so hard to get shots up on the perimeter against them. So, Monroe's 3-point shooters like Morgan and Justice Olem were kind of just held in check out there. So, but yeah, Foster just his frame, his size is his biggest advantage. I mean, he usually is the tallest and kind of lengthiest kid on the court. So that always makes him a good, defensive asset. And then just inside in the paint, he can, get up there. He had some really nice, kind of put back plays tonight, getting up and just cleaning up on the boards and putting it back in. So, I mean, he's definitely a player to watch for in the postseason.
Well, I don't know if you know tonight, Cade, but a potential sectional opponent of Wapahani, Blackford, tonight beat Oak Hill 66-40. Blackford jumped out to a 22-0 lead on Oak Hill, a really good team. So maybe Wapahani will have some competition after all.
Yeah, and that Blackford team, I mean, they are very, kind of sneaky in that sectional. I would definitely agree with you with Aaron Daniels. I know their first year head coach. He's, got a really good group of kids there, and they've got like a nice mix of seniors with Gage Baker over there, and then the freshman whose name it's escaping me right now.
Mari Leggett.
Yes, Amari Leggett. So they've got a nice thing going over there too, and I could definitely, if they have a night like it sounds like they had tonight, I could definitely see them pushing Wapahani a little bit, giving them some trouble in that section.
Gage Baker is exactly the kind of senior a young team needs. He's a smart player. He's a leader. He's always looking to make the best play possible for his team. Just really been a really impressive player this year.
Absolutely, yeah.
All right, Kate, tell me what you have coming up on Saturday. Busy day.
Yeah, well, Saturday we'll have a doubleheader. We've got Monroe Central girls basketball and Delta girls basketball both playing in their regionals. Monroe Central will be at LaPel at 4:00, and then I'm going to try and make it back over to West Del to cover Delta. They'll play there at 7:00. So
have you done the Google Maps yet? How long of a drive is it?
It's about 30 minutes. I think I should be able to
not
manage.
Bad.
Yeah, not bad at all. So
you might have to cut an interview short, but other than that, you should probably be able to get there.
Yeah, that's definitely my biggest concern is being able to get an interview or two in at with Coach Morrison and maybe a player at Monroe Central if things go their way. But I usually, especially if it's like a season-ending loss, like a sectional or regional loss, the players with the emotions and whatnot, I don't like to bother them as much after those kind of losses. But
so what are Monroe Central's chances? I know a lot about Delta, cover them every day, but not much about Monroe Central. Their chances tomorrow?
Yeah, well, I like their team. I mean, they won. I think they won like 20 games this year. I
Right.
think they went
Yep.
20-6. So I mean, they've got a team that knows how to win. They've got a good, good group of seniors. It's a nice kind of like we were talking about Blackford having a nice mixture of rising freshman talent and then like senior experience. I think the Monroe Central girls team is kind of a similar build. They have a good mixture with Sydney Patterson kind of is like the leading senior, and then Avery Irvin is one of those younger players who can also score. They have just really good guard play, four or five just great guards that can all score the ball. I don't know too much about their opponent. I believe they play North Miami, but
Right.
I think where Monroe Central might have like some trouble is if they run into somebody that has some like size in the paint, like a taller player. Like
Hmm.
when they played Wapahani earlier this year, Kimber Abshire, I mean, they didn't really have anybody who could guard her.
Right.
So
Exactly.
if they run into somebody with a little more, muscle or size down low, that might give them some trouble. But I mean, they can score the ball. They, pass the ball really well. They've got a good thing going, and I think they could definitely kind of make a push there.
And even without Griffin Knight, we think Delta can win their first regional ever.
Yeah, I mean, they looked great without her against Yorktown in the sectional championship game.
Jillian Barr. Woo.
And dude, yeah, Jillian Barr, what a season she is having.
Mhm.
It really feels like she's gotten better as the year has gone on. I mean, I get one of Delta's assistant coaches emails me their stats and everything after every game, and it feels like the last month or so, Barr has been just on a ridiculous tear of just.
Yes.
And then, I mean, she had 31 the other night in that sectional championship. That was a new season high. So, I mean, she's playing her best ball at the right time. And obviously, if Knight is unable to go, which it, seemed like would be the case. She didn't play really at all in that sectional championship until they put her in at the end. But
Right.
yeah, I mean, Barr is going to have to shoulder a little more of an offensive workload. But I mean, shoot, she can. She seems like she can handle it. She has been absolutely crushing it, and that whole Delta team is just
Yeah.
really incredible to cover. They are having so much fun.
Yeah. They're going to heights that the program's never been, Cade, and they don't have a single senior on the team.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, me and Zach Carter with the Ball State Daily News. He and I we were covering that game at the same time, and we were talking. I mean, and Yorktown too. I mean, that team has one senior, Claire Hazen. She's
Correct.
their only senior, and
Yeah.
so I mean, they played 3 times this year, all 3 great games, and it's like next year we're gonna be seeing basically the exact same thing with. I mean, both of these rosters having another year of experience and growth under their belt. Those matchups are going to be intense next year. I am really looking forward to that.
What a job both of those coaches have done, Delta and Yorktown.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, the job that Tyron DeBenning has done at Delta in such a short amount of time is
Amazing.
just, yeah, nothing short of incredible. I mean, really, from obviously, I mentioned earlier, I haven't been around here very long, but from talking to, other journalists in the area and other people around here, I know the Delta girls basketball program was not in a good spot at all. Really, they had very little success, and then
Just a couple of years ago.
yeah, I mean, two seasons, and Tyronda has won them their first sectional championship since 1993, I think it was. So I mean, that just
And
incredible accomplishments so early on. I mean, you can't help but feel good about the direction that program's going.
they look like they're the favorites to win their first regional ever. Cade Hampton, look for his coverage in the Muncie Star-Press. He is on Twitter. What's your handle?
It's Cade Hamp 10 with it's a 10, so it's like
Gotcha.
Hamp and
Yep.
then
Hampton.
number.
Got it. I love it. All right. Thanks so much, Cade. And one more time, Susie.
War Eagle.
Nah, roll tide.
Thank you so much to Cade for joining the Central Indiana Sports again and talking a little Monroe Central Wapahani basketball. Thank you so much for listening. If you'd like to see us grow, please help us do it organically. Just tell a friend about the Central Indiana Sports. I know you've been thinking of somebody who would like this podcast. Please just let them know about it. People deserve this podcast. Your friends deserve this podcast. We thank you, and we are indebted to you. The Central Indiana Sports Report is brought to you by DG Media. I love Susie and whoa.